What if the life you're living isn't yours at all? The greatest danger we face isn't failure, but the subtle, creeping peril of shaping our days to please others. Too often, we wander down paths we barely recognize, years slipping through our fingers as we follow a script we didn't write. Maybe you've felt it, to that quiet unease, the sensation of moving to a rhythm you didn't choose, your steps unsteady beneath the watchful eyes of the world. Life can feel like a grand theater, each act weighed down by new expectations, each scene lit by the flicker of approval or the shadow of disapproval. Yet somewhere deep within, a voice whispers, urging us to break free, to craft a story that belongs to us alone. Today, let's peel back the layers of conformity, uncover the courage it takes to stand apart, and explore how to transform the fear of judgment into a blazing fire that fuels a life of authenticity. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw life as a singular masterpiece, a creation meant to be sculpted by our own hands. But how do we mold something truly ours when the weight of others' expectations presses against us like a storm? Freedom, he argued, isn't won by pleasing the crowd, it's earned by embracing the possibility of rejection. This is no small task. To live authentically is to invite scrutiny, to step beyond the warm, familiar embrace of the herd and into the unknown. Yet it's precisely in this act of daring that we carve out space to grow, to become the person we were always meant to be. Picture a young man named Lucas, who once found solace in the keys of a piano. Hours melted away as his fingers danced, spinning melodies that captured emotions too vast for words. But when the moment came to choose a path, his parents' voices rang louder than the music. Law is a solid profession, they declared, and so the piano was relegated to silence. Years later, armed with a degree and a respectable job, Lucas stood before a haunting question. When did I stop living for myself? Living for others is like rowing a boat that doesn't belong to you. You pour every ounce of strength into each stroke, arms burning, breath heavy, sweat tracing lines down your face, but the shore you're straining toward isn't yours. Worse yet, you might not even know where you're going. The water grows thick and resistant, the current of frustration surging with every pull. It's an exhausting endeavor, driven by expectations that rarely echo who you are. Nietzsche saw this trap with piercing clarity when he spoke of the herd morality, that societal force that seeks to smooth out individuality, pressing everyone into a predictable, acceptable shape. To bend to this is to pay a heavy toll, the quiet abandonment of oneself. He believed the strongest souls are those who dare to walk alone, though such a journey demands a courage few are ready to summon. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if you could revisit one defining choice in your life, what would it be? Why would you rewrite it? The answer often shines a light on what we've buried beneath the surface, the burden of a life that doesn't feel like home. The deepest emptiness doesn't come from stumbling, it's born from never having the chance to stand as yourself. Nietzsche's charge to become who you are isn't a soft nudge, it's a clarion call, a summons to bravery. It's not about digging up some hidden essence, as if our identity were a relic waiting to be dusted off. No. It's a challenge to build something extraordinary, where every choice, every breath, every fleeting moment weaves the tapestry of who we truly are. But creation is a struggle when the expectations of others loom like a mountain, immovable and vast. From our earliest days, we're taught there's a right way to live, a proper career to pursue, a set of behaviors to adopt, a life polished to shine in the eyes of others. Nietzsche saw this as a cage dressed up as comfort, a house we're handed the keys to with the promise that it's good enough. He urged us to question those walls, to see them as the boundaries they are, limits on our own making. To become who we are is to take up the chisel and sculpt the raw marble of our identity. It's a messy, uncertain process. Each strike feels like a sacrifice, a risk, a piece of ourselves falling away. But through this labor, we emerge not as something that was always there, but as something we had the guts to create. Authenticity isn't stumbled upon, it's forged in the deliberate rejection of what's safe for what's real. Imagine a day where no one's watching, no friends, no family, no colleagues, no strangers peering over your shoulder. What would you do with those hours? This question cuts deep, exposing how much of our lives we tailor to an unseen audience. Nietzsche dares us to envision a life without that spotlight, where every action affirms not what others demand, but what we long to become. Rejection is a primal fear, stitched into the fabric of being human. We yearn to belong, to be seen, to feel the glow of acceptance. But Nietzsche saw pleasing everyone as a betrayal of the self. To live your truth is to unsettle those who cling to the ease of conformity, and rejection becomes the companion you can't outrun. Yet in its sting lies a gift, the seed of liberation. Like a sailboat meeting the wind, what feels like resistance can drive you forward if you learn to lean into it. Picture someone who steps off the well-trodden path to chase a passion that defies the norm. The price is steep judgmental glances, sharp words, the cold bite of isolation. But in that solitude, freedom begins to bloom. Nietzsche didn't gloss over rejection's pain. He framed it as the cost of authenticity. Choosing your truth might mean swimming upstream, letting go of relationships, or passing up chances others would seize. But weigh it carefully. What holds more value, clinging to what binds you or embracing what sets you free? When was the last time you chose your truth, knowing the world might frown? Maybe it was a quiet rebellion, wearing what felt right, voicing a thought others shunned, or a seismic shift, like turning away from a life that sparkled for everyone but you. Each choice, no matter its size, is a thread in the fabric of who you are. Judgment casts a shadow that shifts with time, sometimes faint and fleeting, other times so thick it swallows the light. Nietzsche warned of its power to imprison us, writing, "And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music." It's an eternal struggle, the freedom to be yourself clashing with the dread of being misunderstood. Judgment is a silent cell, its bars unseen but felt in every hesitation. We quiet our voices, dim our spirits, all to earn a currency of approval that fades too fast. From childhood, we're trained to trade authenticity for acceptance, taking jobs we don't crave, swallowing opinions we don't hold, abandoning dreams we're too afraid to name. This fear bends us, turning our reflection into a cracked mirror that shows not our face, but the one others expect. Imagine holding a dream tight, too scared to let it breathe for fear of ridicule. Hiding feels like armor, but it's a wound that festers, a regret far sharper than any critic's jab. Nietzsche calls us to dance to our own tune, even if the world hears nothing. Freedom isn't the absence of judgment, it's the strength to live despite it. How often have you stopped short, silenced by a whisper not from others, but from your own mind? How many times have you doubted your worth because the eyes around you narrowed? Each pause chips away at us, yet it also reveals a truth. Judgment is a wind that never stills, but it doesn't have to hold us back. With courage, it can fill our sails, carrying us toward a horizon we chart ourselves. Nietzsche believed life arrives without a script, no inherent meaning, no destiny carved in stone. This might rattle you, but it's also a wide-open door. If nothing is written, everything can be shaped. He who has a why can bear almost anyhow. He wrote, hinting that purpose turns even the darkest days into something bearable. Society offers us prepackaged goals, wealth, status, stability like items on a store shelf. But do they fill the soul? Too often they leave us echoing with emptiness, shadows of a life not ours. Nietzsche proposed a different way, forge a purpose from within, what he called Dhamma Fati, a love of fate. Not a passive surrender, but a bold embrace of life's voyages, its pain, its beauty, and weaving meaning from it all. Crafting purpose is like planting a seed. You pick out a dream, a value, something that sings in your core. At first, it's small, fragile, a whisper in a roaring world. But with time and care, it takes root, stretching through storms, enduring dry spells, standing tall even when others pass it by. Eventually, it grows into a tree, its branches a refuge you've built from nothing. Nietzsche asks, if you alone judged your path, what meaning would you give your days? That answer marks the line between a life on autopilot and one lit by intention. Purpose doesn't need to dazzle the masses. It might glow in quiet acts, lifting a stranger, tending a craft, chasing a flicker of joy. What matters is its truth to you. When it's real, even the heaviest loads feel lighter, because they're yours to carry. Living for others is like settling into a house built by someone else's hands. It looks sturdy, feels safe, but every wall, every door, every window was placed to suit a vision not your own. Nietzsche challenges us to tear it down, to sift through the rubble and raise something that mirrors our soul. It's no simple feat, facing fears of rejection, doubt, isolation, but the prize is a freedom no applause can touch. Life is an open field, he taught, waiting for us to decide what to sow. We turn fleeting moments into meaning, imperfections into art. Time races on, and every day we delay our truth, we lose a piece of ourselves. If tomorrow slipped away, could you say you lived with courage? Your choice is a reflection of your heart. For the true freedom community, this is our heartbeat. We've traced the chains of expectation, found the strength to break them, and learned how authenticity turns fear into fuel. This isn't just a story, it's an invitation. Subscribe to walk this path with us. Like this video if it's stirred something in you. Share it with someone wrestling their own shadows. Leave a comment. What's one choice you'd make if no one watched? Tell us a topic you'd love us to explore next. Together, let's keep building lives that resonate, one fearless step at a time. Living for others is a slow theft of the self, a surrender so gradual we barely notice until the weight becomes unbearable. Nietzsche's words cut through this haze, demanding we reclaim what's ours. The herd morality he despised isn't just a concept, it's the daily pressure to fit in, to smooth our edges, to quiet our uniqueness. But what's the cost of that silence? It's the erosion of our spirit, the dimming of a light that was meant to shine. Lucas's story isn't rare, it's a mirror for so many. How many of us have set aside a passion, a brush, a pen, a song for the sake of a solid choice? How many have traded joy for approval, only to wake up years later wondering where it all went? The boat we row isn't just a metaphor, it's the grind of mornings spent chasing goals we don't believe in, evenings heavy with the exhaustion of a life misaligned. Nietzsche's call to walk alone isn't about isolation, it's about sovereignty. It's the refusal to let the world dictate your direction. That question, what would you change, is a key. It unlocks the door to what's been suppressed, the dreams tucked away, the truths left unspoken. And becoming who you are. It's not a destination, it's a process, a daily act of choosing yourself over noise. It's picking up the chisel, day after day, even when your hands tremble, even when the marble resists. The house we're handed, the one society builds, is tempting. It's furnished with comfort, decorated with praise. But Nietzsche saw through its facade. It's a loner, not a home. To build your own means tearing down what's false, facing the chaos of bare ground, and laying a foundation that's yours alone. Rejection isn't the enemy here, it's the signpost. It tells you you're moving, that you're alive, that you're daring to matter. The wind against the sailboat doesn't just push, it shapes the journey. Every critique, every raised eyebrow can be fuel if you let it. Nietzsche didn't promise ease, he promised truth. And truth, he knew, is worth the fight. Judgment's shadow grows with us, a companion we can't shake. But Nietzsche's dance, the one others call madness, is the rhythm of freedom. It's the beat of a life unscripted, unapologetic. We've all felt the bars of that silent prison, the weight of eyes that judge before we even act. It's in the job we keep to impress, the words we swallow to avoid waves, the dreams we bury to stay safe. But safety is a lie when it costs your soul. That cracked mirror Nietzsche warned of, it's the lens we use when we let others define us. It's time to shatter it, to see ourselves as we are, not as we are told to be. Purpose for Nietzsche is the antidote. It's not handed to you, it's made. Amor fati isn't resignation. It's rebellion with a smile, a refusal to let life's chaos break you. Planting that seed takes guts. It's choosing to nurture something however small when the world shrugs. It's watching it grow, knowing it might not bloom for years, but trusting it will. And when it does, it's yours, a meaning no one can take. The field of life waits, vast and empty, until you decide what to plant. Every choice is a seed, every hardship a chance to grow stronger. Nietzsche didn't offer a map, but he gave us the tools, courage, will, the audacity to live for ourselves. This is the pulse of true freedom, not just a name, but a promise. We're here to question, to build, to rise. Hit subscribe if you're ready to join us. Like this if it resonates, share it with someone who needs it. Tell us, what's your seed, your purpose? What's the next story you want us to tell? Let's keep this fire alive, together, step by authentic step. The weight of others' expectations isn't just a burden, it's a thief. It steals time, energy, the very essence of who we could be. Nietzsche's herd morality isn't abstract. It's the daily grind of conforming to a script we didn't sign up for. It's the voice that says fit in when every fiber of you screams stand out. Lucas didn't just lose his piano, he lost a piece of himself, traded for a life that looked good on paper, but felt hollow in his chest. How many of us have done the same? How many have silenced a calling for the sake of peace, only to find it's a peace that suffocates? Rowing that borrowed boat is more than effort, it's exhaustion with no reward. It's the late nights working for someone else's dream, the mornings waking to a life that doesn't fit. Nietzsche's lone walker isn't a hermit, he's a king, ruling his own fate. That question about changing a choice, it's not just reflection, it's revelation. It shows where we've strayed, where we've let the herd lead. And becoming who you are isn't a what-I'm act, it's a lifetime of chiseling, of choosing, of daring to be more than the world expects. The house society offers is a trap, cozy, yes, but a cage all the same. Nietzsche's call to tear it down is a call to chaos, but also to creation. It's picking up the pieces and building something real, something yours. Rejection isn't a wall, it's a wind, a force to harness. Every no you face, every sidelong glance can push you further if you let it. Nietzsche didn't promise comfort, he promised power, the power to live your truth, no matter the cost. And that cost, it's nothing compared to the slow death of living a lie. Judgment's shadow isn't going anywhere, it's part of the human dance. But Nietzsche's music, the one only you hear, is the key. It's the freedom to move, to live, to be, even when the crowd stares. We've all felt that prison, the invisible bars of expectation. It's in the choices we dodge, the truth we mute, the dreams we lock away. But freedom isn't escaping judgment, it's dancing through it. That broken mirror? Smash it. See yourself as you are, not as they want. Nietzsche knew the weight of others' eyes, but he also knew the strength to look away. Purpose is your rebellion, your stake in the ground. Amor fati is loving the mess of life, its storms, its scars, and making it yours. Planting that seed is an act of faith, a bet on yourself. It's small at first, but it grows, roots deep, branches wide. It's yours, a meaning no one can steal. The field of life is yours to fill, every moment a chance to plant, every struggle a chance to rise. Nietzsche didn't give answers, he gave us the question, what will you make of it all? True freedom isn't just a channel, it's a movement. We're here to break chains, to find truth, to live loud. Subscribe if you're in, like if this hit home. Share it with someone who's ready to wake up. Tell us, what's your truth? What's the next tale you want us to spin? Let's keep building, keep growing, keep living together, unapologetically free. The theft of living for others sneaks up on you, it's a slow bleed, a loss you don't see until it's too late. Nietzsche's herd isn't a theory, it's the pressure you feel every day to be less than you are. Lucas's piano isn't just a story, it's a warning. How many passions have we shelved? How many dreams have we traded for a nod of approval? It's not just loss, it's betrayal, a turning away from the self. And the boat, it's every hour spent rowing for someone else, every drop of sweat for a shore you'll never call home. Walking alone isn't lonely, it's liberation. Nietzsche's question about change isn't idle, it's a mirror, showing where we've drifted. Becoming who you are is work hard, beautiful work. It's chiseling through doubt, through fear, through the weight of the world. The house society builds is a bribe, take it, and you're bought. Tear it down, and you're free. Rejection isn't the end, it's the beginning, the wind that drives you. Nietzsche didn't offer ease, he offered life, reel and draw. Judgment's shadow is relentless, but Nietzsche's dance is louder. It's the pulse of a life unbound, the rhythm of you. We've all known that prison, the hesitation, the silence, the fear. But freedom isn't dodging the shadow, it's stepping through it. That mirror? See yourself, whole and true. Purpose is your fight, your fire. Fat is embracing it all, the good, the hard, the broken, and calling it yours. Plant your seed, watch it grow, claim your field. Nietzsche didn't solve life, he dared us to live it. True freedom is us, you, me, the ones who choose. Subscribe if you're ready, like if this sparks something, share it with the restless. Tell us, what's your seed? What's next? Let's keep this alive, keep it real, keep it ours.